Hi friends, welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I'm Austin, and today's video is a really large build. I've been struggling with what I'm going to talk about during this build. This build took me so long to do, and I've just been pretty much planning what I was going to talk about for this video for so long. So this is my first $1 million home. I've never built a house of this scale. It is 4 floors, 2 basement levels, and just overall it is a very large house. There are definitely more rooms than I knew what to do with, and overall this build took me over 7 hours to do. Some of my friends over on Unique Simmers Discord chat, kind of helped me along the way by giving me words of encouragement, so I really want to thank them. And overall, I'm really happy that this build is done, and I'm really excited to be sharing it with you today. So as you can see, I, kind of got the layout or the framing of the house done pretty easily. It kind of came together really quickly, and then I ran into some issues almost immediately after. So you will notice that I cut out the roofing portion. That is because doing the roofing for this house took me about 45 minutes. It took me 45 minutes to do roofing for a house. I just was losing my mind, and it was never improving until it finally did, and I'm really happy with how it came out now. But it was just so much time wasted. I think the first kind of sit down of this build took me, I think I spent about 2.5 hours starting this build, and then over the course of a week it took me that long to finish it. So this is actually split up into 2 parts, but I didn't want, I don't like splitting up my builds in 2 parts, so I want to do it in such a way that if you're only able to watch one video, then you don't feel like you're missing out on much. So this whole build, the whole 20 minutes, is of the visible top half of this house. The first 4 floors are fully furnished by the end of this, and the landscaping and everything is done. I cut out a lot of footage that was either boring or repetitive. I don't think any bathrooms are built in this, and it was just, to save time, I had to cut out a lot of stuff. But overall, I'm really happy with what I'm able to show you, and if you want to check out this house, it is available on the gallery. You definitely will probably need to use the free real estate cheat because, like I mentioned, this house is so expensive. My goal for this house wasn't to make the most expensive house that I've ever done, but about halfway through I decided it would be fun to do that. But I think my most expensive house before this was probably like 300,000 simoleons, so I kind of crushed that goal pretty easily. And overall, I'm just really happy with how this house looks. The 3rd and 4th floors, I'd say I had the most fun during. The only issue with furnishing this house was my computer could not handle it at times and would just kind of slow down to a crawl. So there's even a little bit of footage that I lost because my computer was, trying to do too many things at once, and it just couldn't handle capturing the footage. So luckily it wasn't too much footage lost. I think it was mostly on the 3rd floor, and and I never mentioned what part 2 of this video is going to be. So part 2 for this is going to be actually the basement furnishing as well as a house tour. So there are no screenshots in this video. I apologize. It just would have probably taken this video to about 25 minutes because I would have had to take so many screenshots. So if you are just excited for screenshots and want to see that, there will be a house tour in part 2, which should be up sometime later this week. But I really had to figure out a way to make this look good in terms of having a video. So missing out on screenshots for this portion was the only thing I could really do. Now so style-wise, this isn't your traditional mansion, though I would characterize this as a mansion because it is so big. But it just doesn't look like your average mansion build, which I really like. I've done mansion builds in the past. I've done one mansion build, I think, and then I've done 3 copies of that, because that's like every time I do a mansion build, it's like the same style, and I hate it. And half the time I don't even upload the videos. Like, there was a video that I spent about 3.5 hours building, and I didn't even finish it, and I just ended up scrapping the build because I looked back at my base game mansion build and I thought, well, this looks very familiar. So I knew I had to do something, and what I did was not share a build. So yeah. So with this build, the outside looks very family friendly. There is a lot of party rooms in this mansion because you can only have so many bedrooms. I mean, there's a max limit to the Sims you can have in a household, so it didn't make sense to have like 30 bedrooms. So there are like, I think, 7 or 8 bedrooms, which is still a lot of bedrooms. But then there are there's like a bar on the 3rd floor, which I think I might have kept in the video. If not, you will see it in the house tour later. It will be, more expansive of a look. So yeah, there's a bar. The garage area is sort of a party room with a bar. The basement has a couple bars. There are bars pretty much everywhere. It is it is pretty alcohol friendly, I guess. There's no alcohol in the game, so whatever. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun to do. I wanted to keep in a little bit of doing layouts just because, I think sometimes I cut out when I make layouts, and I did have to do that here. There was a lot that I cut out. But I think what I was able to get, what I was able to keep in the build, I'm really happy with. So that's always good. Now, the first floor does have a living room, a library, a kitchen, a dining room, but not really an attached dining, or not like a formal dining room. It's more just a dinner table. It also has an entryway, as every house tends to. And then I made like a little apartment kind of area, so if you had like a maid or something, they could theoretically live there, or something like that. So that's what I start working on right away. That is the first actual furnishing that I do in this build, and I don't know if I actually keep it in because it took me quite a long time to do, because I still think this is like the first portion of the build, or this actually might be my second time actually building in this house. Yeah, I think I started furnishing on my second go around. I think I did the landscaping and everything, and then I got tired because it took so long. But yeah, so the furnishing this room or this area was really fun. I had no idea what I was getting myself into at the time, so I was a little naive at just the scale of this build. I think if I had known how this build was going to turn out, I probably wouldn't have cluttered it so much at the beginning, because there's just so much clutter items. I'm pretty sure like 100 grand or 100,000 simoleons of this build are just clutter items, maybe even more. Some of the rooms have really nice furniture and some of them have more low budget furniture. Like I said, I wasn't really setting up to make a really expensive house at the start, and then towards the end I ended up feeling like, why not go all in if I'm already here? So that's why towards the end there's a little more expensive items added to the build, and I think it's really fun. So yeah, I don't know quite yet when this video is going up, but this week is another weird week of kind of limited videos. I just haven't really been building a lot because I've been focused on this house. I mean, the amount of time I've spent doing this build, I could have spent doing like 3 different builds, but I'm really happy with how this build turned out, and I really hope you enjoy watching it. So yeah, if you have any ideas on what you want to see me do in the future, feel free to let me know. I always like doing challenges and stuff, so if you ever hear of any challenges that I haven't tried yet, then feel free to let me know, because I love doing them. I mainly do builds, but I'm also open to doing cast challenges, though they will most likely not turn out very well. So yeah, the first floor of this house, I do keep a lot of it intact, and then with the later floors I cut out a lot of the footage. I probably could have cut out a little bit more of this kind of portion of the build, just because I was actually editing it as I was going along, so I would put this on my timeline in my editor, and then I would cut out what I thought was necessarily was what was necessary to cut out, and then I'd kind of move on. And as like the timeline grew and grew, I started cutting out more from like the more recent builds, and I could have probably gone back and cut some things out here because, yeah, like I mentioned, this was about 7 hours, I think 8 maybe. It was a very long build, so yeah, I'm really happy to be finished with it, but I don't know if I'm going to do more large scale builds like this. I know other simmers do like huge builds all the time, and they don't, like, I don't know how they're able to make such incredible builds without like sinking 10 hours into them, because like I swear if I had like one more, if like the fourth or third floor was any bigger, I probably would have spent close to 10 hours on this build, and that would have just made me want to pull my hair out because at about 3.5 hours in, I was almost done. I almost threw in the towel. And, you know, once I got out of the first floor, because I think like the first floor of builds tend to have like the same things out of necessity. You have to have a kitchen, you have to have the living room, you have to have a library, I guess. I don't know. You have all these kind of necessary rooms, and then once you get to the other rooms, you kind of can be more creative. So that's what I did here. I, had, more fun with the upper floors, and I really had a lot of fun landscaping. It was just kind of that first floor, trying to like get through doing this floor was the toughest part. And once I was finished with the first floor, it did all come together pretty easily after that. Though the garage was a struggle. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do here, because this was like the point where I was like, I'm gonna have to go pretty crazy here, so I might as well have fun with it, and that's why this kind of garage area is such like a party room. There's karaoke, there's a bar, there's a kind of kitchenette thing with, I think I put a microwave in, and I think that's pretty much it. Then there's a TV, there is a bar. I think I mentioned bar already. Yeah, so this was just a lot of work. But I don't quite know when my next video is going up, especially if my Let's Build Part 2 is already gone up. If that hasn't gone up, that'll probably be my next video out. But I've been having a lot of fun doing these different builds. I've been having a lot of fun doing more kind of tough builds, I guess. I wouldn't say I necessarily struggled at any time with the contents of this build. It was just the amount of time I had to spend on this build. But it was also kind of fun because, especially on the Saturday that I was finishing up this build, EA Play was going on, so I was able to watch EA Play, and I kind of tweeted about that and had a lot of fun doing that sort of stuff. But a lot of this build was just kind of spent either listening to music or just listening to silence and trying to get the build done. So I'm really happy that it is. So the fourth floor is just kind of a YouTuber space, I guess. I thought it would be kind of cool to maybe have, with all, like, to live in this house, you have to have a lot of money, especially with like power bills and stuff. It would be really expensive, and so I decided to, maybe this is a rich family, maybe the two of the kids have YouTube channels, so there is a gaming YouTube channel, or a gaming space on the fourth floor, and then on the third floor there is kind of a beauty sort of space, and I really like how it came out. I think it's a very kind of interesting sort of thing. I know I've done it in the past with other builds, but I've never done two kind of YouTuber space sort of rooms. I did air quotes there because I don't know why. But, and I put a lot of game consoles here because if you're going to be a gamer, you probably, if you're a wealthy gamer, you probably have every console known to man. And so I wanted to make sure I included a lot of gaming consoles, and I never really include those. I know they came in City Living, and I love City Living. It's one of my favorite packs, but I just never use gaming consoles a lot in builds. I sometimes forget they're even there. I don't think I've ever actually had my Sims play with them. I know I know they're fun. I know they, can increase your Sims fun ability and stuff, but I just never have done that. So I really need to actually get back in the game and start playing. Pretty much the second I started a YouTube channel, I stopped kind of playing. I wouldn't say for fun, because I'll do builds without recording them for fun, but I won't like do any of the gameplay. Mainly because I was never very good at it with The Sims 4. Sims 2, I played a lot of gameplay. I was a terrible builder in The Sims 4, which I really thought back to that a lot during this build, because the person that I was when I was playing The Sims 2 could never even possibly think of doing a house like this. And if you are new to the Sims franchise, like if you just got the game free from a couple weeks ago and you don't know yet what to do in terms of building, and you're watching builds to maybe learn some things, that would be my top kind of recommendation, is just to keep watching other people build, because you will learn so much doing that, and you will become an amazing builder in no time, I'm sure of it. And I think one thing that's good to remember when you do a lot of builds, I just said do, so that was pretty funny. I think I might be going crazy here, but one thing to to do when you do a lot of builds is to keep watching your peers, because I know sometimes like a week will go by and I've been busy and I haven't been able to watch a ton of YouTube videos, and my builds will sort of kind of show it, because there's like a lack of inspiration. Something that's really cool is, hopefully if you're watching this video, maybe you'll feel inspired to try something like this, something out of your comfort zone. I tend to build, like, I'm the person that first did the 3000 simoleon build. I tend to build smaller, not larger, so to go out here and do something like this was very much out of my comfort zone, and I'm really happy that I did this, because without trying and forcing yourself to do builds that you might not be comfortable with, you can really find stuff that you really enjoy. So now that I'm off, done rambling about that, the build is surprisingly not wrapping up yet. There's still a lot more to go, especially because this is only part 1. So I hope to have part 2 up later in the week, but maybe it will be pushed to next Monday. I haven't been following my release schedule recently. I just haven't been able to. I've been busy, and with EA playing E3, I think it's probably fine, because who doesn't like I would rather watch gaming news than watch my own videos. So hopefully that's good. Now, I'm not quite sure yet when this video is going up, so I might just be talking about E3, and that could have been a week and a half ago for all I know. So I built a fitness room on the 2nd or 3rd floor, and that was a fun room to do. It's rather small. I do a larger fitness room in the basement, so you'll have to wait and see that. But I don't know. I never... when I play the game, my Sims always have treadmills or, the weight lifting machines or whatever they are in their house. But when I do builds for YouTube, my Sims never have that. So I try to, I never put those in my builds. So I've been really trying to, kind of think back to what I like when I play the game and try to add that to my builds. So that's one of the big things. Now, a lot of these bedrooms actually have their own private bathroom, which is rather nice. I already finished furnishing what I think to be the master bedroom. I believe the master bedroom to be the room with the nursery in it, though that could also just be a random room with a nursery in it. Who knows? So, I really like all the character that I added to all of these rooms. I didn't furnish each and every one of them, or I didn't decorate each and every one of them, too much. Some rooms are more decorated than others, because at this point I still wasn't really too sure how expensive this house was going to be. It really wasn't until the build hit $850 that I was like, I could probably hit $1 million with this build, and not just kind of resort to using all the most expensive items. But if I felt like the room called for it, then some more expensive items were used for the build. Now, this last bedroom that I worked on, this is actually the last room of the build, well, the upper portion. I didn't like it first, and then as I kept furnishing it, I really grew to enjoy the look of it. It's, got a lot of white furniture, and then has a couple pops of color here and there. I really like the green curtains that I use. I use them maybe too much, though, so I'm gonna probably try to refrain from using them in the future. And the black mirror and black vanity, I think, turn out really well with the white bed and white end tables or bedside tables. But yes, so as you can see, the build is wrapping up. I can't wait to show you part 2 a little later in the week. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.